Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Today we will discuss hierarchical clustering. So what is hierarchical clustering? Hierarchical clustering is an unsupervised machine learning algorithm used to group similar data points into cluster. Obviously, it is a algorithm of unsupervised learning. Okay, so it will group similar data points into clusters. Okay, so it creates a tree-like structure of clusters called a dendrogram. Okay. Unlike k-means, if you can remember, we used basically elbow method. We plotted a graph and analyzed by elbow method how much cluster we should take. Okay. But in hierarchical clustering, we will draw a dendrogram. Okay, to know how many clusters we should take in our algorithm. Okay, to fit the data. Okay, so what is dendrogram? Dendrogram is a tree diagram showing how clusters merge. For example, look at this. This is a kind of dendrogram. Okay, so bottom you can see individual points one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this, and top one largest cluster. Okay, one largest. Okay, now how to choose number of clusters? We cut the dendrogram at a certain height. For example, cut at height 5, maybe 3 cluster, cut at height 10, maybe 2 cluster. Rule. Choose the point where the vertical distance is largest. Okay. So here you can see it is the largest line we can see. Okay. So here we can see it is dividing the graph into two parts, the orange one and the green one. Okay. If I will cut if I will cut it, so it will, I think I will be able to cut here. So we can basically cut it into two parts. Okay. So that means it is saying that we should take two clusters. Okay. We should draw two clusters. Okay. That's what it is saying by dendrogram. Okay. So So there are two types of hierarchical clustering. Okay. First, agglomerative clustering. It is its approach is bottom to top, and this this clustering, we will see. Like commonly, we only use this cluster. Okay, not the second one. So how it processes? Starting with each point as its own cluster, merge the closest cluster repeatedly, and continue until all the clusters become one cluster. Suppose it will take, I have A, B, C, D. It will take individual A, B, C, D, and then it will continue till A, B, C, D will be together, will become A, B, C, D. Okay. Till then it will process. Okay. That's what agglomerative clustering, and this clustering we will use. It is not commonly used divisible clustering, sorry, divisive clustering. Its approach is top to bottom. It starts with one big cluster. Totally, it's opposite of agglomerative clustering. Okay, start with one big cluster and then split clusters repeatedly, and then continue until every point becomes separate. Okay, like it started with A, B, C, D, and then it separated all the characters A, B, C, D like this. Okay, and here are some linkage methods. So what is linkage method? When clusters contain multiple points, we need a way to calculate distance between clusters, right? So these methods are called linkage methods. So there are four type of linkage method. Single linkage, distance between the nearest points of two clusters. Complete linkage, distance between the farthest points of two clusters, and average linkage, average distance between all points, and last one, broad linkage, merge clusters that minimize variance. Okay, so now let's see how we can perform hierarchical clustering practically. Okay, so this is my data set. On this data set, I have performed k-means clustering also. So here you can see I have only input and I don't have the output. We need to guess the output, how many categories are there by plotting a dendrogram. Okay, so I will basically do hierarchical clustering for this data set. Now, first I will import some required libraries. Pandas as 3D import matplotlib dot pyplot as plt import cborn as essence. Okay, now I will load my data. And one more condition is to apply hierarchical clustering is your data should be linear. Okay, it should follow linearity. Okay, we will check that by plotting a pair plot. Okay, pd.read slash csv. I will, this is my data. I will right click, copy path. I will paste it. I will check my data is loaded or not by checking its first three rows. Yeah, my data gets loaded. Now let's plot a pair plot to check it is following linearity or not. Okay, I will take data as data because in data variable I have loaded my data set plt dot show. Now you can see in my previous video also when we were doing k-means clustering, we already seen so this iris data set is following linearity. Okay, so we can perform hierarchical clustering also on this data set. Okay, so now I will make dendrogram. I will give a markdown here making dendrogram. I will give a markdown, shift plus enter. Now I have to import SciPy from SciPy dot cluster, sorry, cluster hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy. As let's say SC. Okay, now let's plot a dendrogram. I will give some figure size. Fig size is equal to, let's take 2010. Now I will write sc dot dendrogram. I will click shift plus tab. Here you can see some hyperparameters. Okay. Now I will give sc dot linkage. Okay. I will give my data. What method? What linkage we should use? Let's take single. Okay. I have already explained all the types of linkage, and I will check. These are some methods. Okay. Now let's take, okay, metric as QDN. Let's take this. Now I will use plt dot show. Now you can see the dendrogram, right? So this dendrogram, if you can see, it is dividing my graph into two parts, this orange one and this green one, right? And this is the biggest line you can see around 1.6123 like that. Here it is reaching up. Okay. So if I cut this, uh, if I cut this line, so where first cut we can do here around 0.8 or something, here we can cut. So we can see we can cut it into two parts, okay? And it is dividing also my dendrogram into two parts, okay? First the orange one and the green one. So it is saying that take total two clusters, okay? Means it is saying we can draw two clusters. We should draw two, we should basically give two clusters. Means we will have, we will have two number of categories, only two number of categories, okay? Now I will import sklearn dot cluster import agglomerative clustering, right? The first one, first type of clustering, we generally use this clustering only, okay? Now, now let's take an object to call agglomerative clustering, okay? Now, so I'm giving n clusters as two as suggested by my dendrogram, right? I will taking two. I'm taking two. Uh, Linkage. Let's take single. We want basically we want the distance between the nearest points of two clusters. Okay, so that's why I'm taking single. Now I will fit and predict from the data. Okay, now you can see there are only two categories, 0 and 1. Okay, there are no two, means it is giving only two categories. Okay, because we are given n cluster has two. Okay, now I will store this. I will store this output into my new column. Let's take predict column to store this. Sc.fit predict data. Right now, now let's see our data. Now you can see my output column is there. In starting, we didn't have the output column. Now we have the output column also predict. Now let's take make a plot. Sorry, let's plot a pair plot. Okay. Now I will give data as u parameter. I will give predict, right? Because that is my output. Now plt dot show me the graph. Okay. Now you can see there are two classes. There are two classes. Here you can see 0 and 1, 0 and 1. Okay. So this is how my graph is looking like with the output. Okay. So we covered the hierarchical cluster, how we can get clusters and we can get output from hierarchical clustering. So that's all in this video. In the next video, we will discuss DB scan clustering. Okay. So thank you.